You guys had some questions. Uh, do I give advice on workplace etiquette? I would say that I do. Um, yeah. I mean, I give maybe not advice. I give experiences that I've had in workplace etiquette, and then I tell you about times where I've given or gotten solutions to the experiences that I've had, what I did, and maybe how I think it could have gone better if I would have done it in a different way, right? So I think that's the best way to that I go about it. Worst interaction I've had with an employee. I don't have a worst interaction. I don't think. I think that the better way to put it is that I have interactions that I remember, right? Um, let's see. Here's a common one that I had quite a bit over the years. I would say maybe two times out of the year, right? I would have somebody who let's put on some music actually. Let's put on some no copyright. Have get my jam on for this story time. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So about twice a year, I would have somebody who believed in their hearts that it was them versus their employer. And in some cases, this is not a bad way to look at things, but in many cases, it drives you down a path of perception that prevents you from seeing the whole picture, right? These guys would get stuck in this mental loop of it's me versus them, and they would take that out on like the managers, or and sometimes the managers deserved it 100%. There's some terrible managers out there. I had some myself, even here recently when I lost my job, that were just terrible excuses for human beings. But you can't do a blanket statement because what it does is it allows you, it encourages you to profile before you've examined the issue. And whenever you have an answer for a problem, you stop looking for solutions. And that is what I would suggest to be one of the main uh, issues when it comes to employees is that if they already have the solution to you and they see you as a problem, they're not going to be able to interact with you in a meaningful or productive way. They're going to be playing a game of points or chess, trying to outmaneuver you or trying to keep track, keep score of who's most right and how and why and when where. And when you do that, you stop focusing on the job at hand. You stop focusing on uh, progressing. You stop trying to improve, and you're stuck in a leaderboard, scoreboard type scenario. Um, I remember this one guy, and it was his version of winning was doing the least amount of work humanly possible, and he ended up putting in way more efforts to not work and to prevent others from working than if he would have just locked in, done the bare minimum, done his required workload, and called it a day. Um, hiding out in the bathroom, or talking, or pretending to work, but not actually doing the work. Part of his job was to take a phone and scan all the labels, and then pull the order numbers of the labels that lighted up, and put them on a carts. He would go over to the area that he was assigned, and he would stand there with the phone in his hand for like 5-10 minutes and just sit there like this. And so it looked like he was doing the job. unless you sat there and watched him and you noticed that, like, he's not pulling boxes. And so you go up and you talk to him, and be like, hey, why aren't you pulling boxes? And he'd be like, oh, I'm not getting any. Oh, okay, no problem. Makes sense. So, like 5, 10, 15 minutes. Not moving, not doing this, right? Not pulling boxes. So now you're like, okay, something's going on. So, sneaky ninja that I am, 6 foot and overweight, I'm looking around the corner and I see that he is watching Twitch on his phone instead of doing the boxes. And I'm like, okay, well, now we have to have a discussion. I pulled him aside and I'm like, hey, listen, I don't care what you do. You want to watch Twitch? Watch Twitch. I need you to do the job. I need you to get your work done. And once your work is done, I don't care what you do. Just don't get me in trouble. Get your work done, get your quota done, and we're chill. We're good. I can't have you doing nothing. He's like, okay, for sure. And I'm like, you get it? He's like, yeah, I get it. I'm like, okay, because I'm be 100% honest with you. And I understand that when I'm telling him this, that he's going to use this information against me. I'm like, listen, this is what I saw that let me know that something was off. Okay? I saw that you weren't really moving your phone around a lot. You were standing in the exact same spot. I mean, you were 15 minutes for one section. It should be like 3, maybe 4 minutes per section. Maybe 8 if you're getting a lot of picks. But if you're not getting any picks at all, like 2-3 minutes is like pretty standard. So I need to see you moving. I need to see some picks, and I need to, I need to see some effort from you. I need the job done. It's going to show up on the report either way, so I'm going to be able to see, and I will follow up with it to see if what your picks get matches the report. And he started like, well, what if the report's wrong? Blah, 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 blah. It doesn't update. And I'm like, give me something. Give me some sort of justification other than saying that the system's wrong, okay? Get your areas done, get them scanned, everything's Gucci. Okay, yeah, no worries. He goes through, he starts scanning, and I'm like, all right, cool. And I walk by and I see that his cart is full and everything looks good for the rest of the day. Awesome, great, love it. He's chill for like 3 days, and then I come by and I see his cart's half full, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, he got the message. And about an hour and a half later, I'm coming back from lunch and I'm looking at the report, and it's saying that he did not get his picks. And I'm like, but I saw the picks on the cart. So are they not updating? Like, what's going on here? So I go over his areas that he had done and then he had moved on from. And I go in there and the picks are there. They're in the thing. But his cart is still full. His cart's sitting right there of all the picks he pulled for the day. And I'm like, why? So I pull the picks that I'm supposed to, when you do the scan, finish the job, make sure it's correct. At the end of the day, the job getting done is the most important part. It's not a me versus him thing. It's a making sure that the quality of the work is done and the team is getting their goals accomplished, right? That is the most important part. But at this point, it's hard not to get frustrated with somebody like this. And so I'm looking at this guy, at this guy's work. I pull the picks I need to, and then I start scanning the items that he pulled. And a lot of them don't say that they need to be picked. And now I'm getting mad, and I'm like, really, bro? Really? You came over here, you did the thing, you were in the app, you have to be in the app to pull the picks. Right? You have to be in the app to pull the picks. He hit pick on him. Why didn't you just do it right at this point? And I'm getting mad. And it was because he got mad that I got on him. And so he's going to do it wrong. And I'm like, do your due diligence. Right? How does this benefit the company? Right? Does this benefit the company? Is what he did benefiting us in some way? So what did I do? Instead of staging it, letting the next shift work the picks, which is what the system is designed to do, right? Second shift pick works the picks, overnights works them to the floor, right? So I go out, take the cart, I try and work them out, and like a third of them go out, but 2/3 don't, and I'm like, okay. Well, first off, the third that went out, and it didn't say something. That's something there's wrong. So I start looking, and I find some inaccuracies, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's not the job, but it is beneficial for us that this happened, because I was able to find inaccuracies in the system and rectify it. So even though he didn't do the job, he did something, and it had a positive outcome, even though it wasted some time with the 66% that didn't go out. Maybe I can fix this guy. And so I talked to my boss. We pull him in the office, right? And I'm like, listen, a lot of your areas had picks in them that you didn't get, and I'm wondering why you didn't see them, why you didn't pick them. Is there like a reason? And he's like, no, I got all mine. And I was like, so here's screenshots of like what it said you did, and then here's screenshots of what it was like after I did the thing. Thank you. What after I went through that area, and here's the picks that I got on this cart, and here's the picks that I had on your cart. And when I worked your cart, only about a third of them went out. And when I worked my cart, same area, same bins that it was supposed to pull, about 80% of those went out. Now the 20% that didn't go out had inaccuracies in them, not all of them. So for some reason, I still don't know why they didn't go out. I'm going to talk to Invoice and see if I can get that rectified. But that's bothering me, man. I'm balding, and it's just like, That's the great thing about hiding it, is like when you hide it, you have like all these long hairs, right? And then but when they are like this, they all pull together. And then when they do show these like lines, are like very noticeable. So I think it's time for me to go get a haircut. Except the hairline. I mean, my hairline's not that bad. But, what was I saying? But yeah, I was talking to him, and I was like, listen, this isn't a total net loss, but this is not what I want. This is not the goal of your job. Please pull what it tells you to pull and how it tells you to pull. It's like, I did. So now he's just straight up lied to me. And I'm like, okay, great. I didn't get anything resolved from this talk, except for now that he's probably even more mad. Because now I've got on him like 3 or 4 times about the same thing in like a week. So I record the interaction, do the paperwork, do the paper trail, and I leave it alone. And I'm like, okay, maybe we change perspectives here. Maybe we just leave him alone, let him do whatever he's gonna do, call it a day, right? Just complete freedom for him, right? So, because I'm thinking maybe he's just like, stressed out because I'm watching him all the time, or maybe he's like, whatever. So I'm gonna go complete radio silence, except for, I'm going to take every opportunity I can to positively reinforce this guy, which is kind of sketchy. It might not be the best opportunity to help this guy, because if you feel like somebody's messing up and you give them a bunch of positive feedback, it can send mixed signals of like, oh, I thought I was doing good, but now you're saying I'm doing bad. But I'm just going to give him positive feedback on things not related to this, right? I'm going to give him positive feedback of like, thank you for showing up for work on time. Thank you for having a good attitude. Thank you for doing good on these other tasks that aren't associated with this thing that I'm asking about. Sorry. Let me see if she can help out. So yeah, I'm trying to give these other ways to improve the morale and improve his experience, right? Because I'm hoping that it's one of these things where he got mad about this one thing, and so if I can bring him back into the fold, that he might improve not only this one thing, but continue to provide benefits to other parts of the job. It didn't happen. He thought that he's like, okay, cool, he's moved on to somebody else. Because I was holding everyone to the same standard, right? So of course I was talking to multiple people a day, trying to keep everybody's feet to the fire. And it didn't work out super great because he took that as, okay, cool, I'm not being watched anymore. And he went back to not only doing the picks wrong, but he's just stopped doing anything. And so he was walking away from his area, he was going into other people's areas, he was talking, he was taking extra breaks, all of these things. And I'm like, shit. So, I start documenting. After the third or fourth day, I pull him in the office, I give him a disciplinary. He's mad about it, he open doors it stays. Right? It sticks, because I had everything documented. And he was legitimately doing the wrong thing. And now he starts going around and telling everybody else about how I'm being unfair and how the workload is too much, and all just trying to sow any kind of seeds of discontent that he could do. And at the end of the day, there wasn't a whole lot I could do for this guy, except for finesse him back. When you have somebody who's just straight up, their main goal is to finesse you and to get what they can from you and give as little as in return as you can. I noticed that the only time that he had a good attitude and that he wasn't interrupting productivity was when he was having a good time. So I gave him a good time. I would give him jobs that he preferred, because at least I would get some work out. And I would, I would do like a 3 out of 4 kind of scenario where like 3 out of the 4 tasks he enjoyed as much as he could. None of them were particularly amazing tasks, but they were not bad. And I didn't group him up with his buddies, but I didn't group him up with people that he hated either. And I didn't keep him isolated. I just held everybody to the same standard. And eventually, what happened was, not only was he getting his disciplinaries, but they started getting their disciplinaries too, because he started distracted. And they started self-isolating themselves from him. And he started just, because nobody wanted to hang out with him because he would get them in trouble. I didn't tell them to isolate. I just let their work speak for themselves, and their productivity went from here to here, because you can't be focused on your work if you're hanging out talking all the time. It just doesn't work. As much as I enjoy talking and hanging out with people, it's the same thing for me. So this young individual decided, well, nobody's gonna hang out with me, then I don't need to be in my work area. And he was taking, like hour-long bathroom breaks. And that was really the quintessential turning point. That's the lesson learned here, is that if somebody is hardcore against working, hardcore against trying to be productive, you just let them do them, and they will hang themselves. He got another disciplinary right after that, and he kept doing it. He kept doing it because he didn't have anything else to do. He wasn't going to work. He wasn't going to listen to me, and he had burned all of his friends and all of his coworkers by getting them in trouble. They weren't going to associate with him if it wasn't break or lunchtime. Even when they were more than allowed to, I was like, hey, you guys do you. I'm just going to hold you accountable for the workload that gets done, and the quality that it gets done at. And there's really not a whole lot of wiggle room in that to be goofing off. And he just kept doing it. He got his last write up, and he got terminated. And I learned that day that that's how you handle things. That's how you handle these problem folks, is you don't try and control them, right? It's that psychological principle that I always go back to of, you can only control yourself. Don't try to control anyone else, because it makes you make really weird decisions. I had originally, when I was trying to control his behavior, remember that I went and was like looking around the corner, like watching his phone, like, what's he looking at? Oh, he's on Twitch. That's weird. That's a weird thing that I did, right? It wasn't immoral or wrong or anything like that, right? Like, it was a company device that he was on, right? Company device that he had put the Twitch app onto and was watching. But he wasn't doing his work. But I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to know that he was on Twitch. I didn't have to sneak around and, what's he doing now? Is he doing his work? Oh, is he doing what I want? No. Just evaluate the person based on what they've done. If it meets expectations, great. If it doesn't, that's great too. And once you turn that corner in your mind, everything becomes so much easier. Nothing's personal. Nothing's vindictive. You don't get your feelings hurt. When they do something that ticks you off, you don't care. They're not doing it to you. Right? They're just doing the wrong thing. It sucks to be that guy. He's just doing the wrong thing. Right? And my whole perspective changed. And as a manager, I was able to deal a lot better. I found that is the way to handle it. It's just to keep it about the core concepts of, did the work get done? Is it to expectation or whatever? And let people do what they're gonna do. So that is my least favorite kind of employee, and that is how I deal with them. Yeah. Well, that was a long ass rant. But if you guys have any other things that you'd like to get answered, please let me know. And it has been about 2 hours. I'm gonna be on later for some gaming. My son's up. I think he needs some help because my wife did not respond to my message, so I need to go take care of them. But hopefully I can be back later for some gaming, okay? And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.